Hello, FlossTube. Suzette again. I have my old ratty clothes on, so guess what time it is? It's time to dye. If you recall, a few videos ago, I shared that I had purchased Antique Tin Tiles chart, and that's from Rosewood Manor, and that I was interested in dyeing my own floss for this chart. It calls for DMC 926, which I love that color, but I just wanted to change it up a little bit. And I did some test dyeing of 926 with the pearl gray RIT dye, tan RIT dye, and walnut stain. And at that time I had not decided which one I wanted to go with, but I have finally made my choice, and I'm going to go with the one that has the pearl gray and tan mixed. Now, I had a few requests to show how I dye my floss, and let me just say for the record, I am in no way an expert in floss dyeing. It's just something that I thought, well, I've dyed fabric before, why not try a little bit of floss? And the method that I use is actually very simple, and I will show you that today. I have my surface covered, protected. I have my plastic gloves to protect my hands from the dye because it does stain horribly. And I have an old cookie sheet that's covered with freezer paper, and then I just have my dyes that I've prepared. If you haven't watched any of my other dyeing videos, and if you've never used RIT dye, I use the powdered form, and the most important thing I feel like is that you need to make sure that you have it stirred up very well. If you have any little stray granules in there, you will get some very strange red dots on your fabric or floss, whatever you're dyeing. So you want to make sure that you stir it well. So I have already prepared these. That is the tan, and this is the pearl gray. And I'm just going to give it another little stir. I also just use very inexpensive containers that I pick up at the dollar store or at thrift stores. I never use something that I'm going to be putting food into. I keep all that separate. Okay, so, oh yes, and you need your floss. Now, some of the floss I have gone ahead and tied knots into in various places in the hopes that that will give me a little bit more variegation. But the way I'm going to start off, I'm just going to line a few of these up here. I'll do these first 4. I also have, I call it a pipette, a little squeezy thing. And I'm going to take first my pearl gray. Oh, you know what? Guess what I forgot? My gloves. Okay, and I'm just dripping, squirting along each skein. Until I feel like it's enough. That one is not wanting to soak in. I want the gray to be my main dye color on this particular floss. but I don't want it to cover the entirety of the floss because I still want a lot of the 926 color to show through. See how this one is looking. Give that one a little bit more love. Okay, and I only have one of these, so I'm going to rinse this one out just with some clear water. And then I'm going to take my tan, and I mixed this quite heavy because I wanted to make sure that the tan would be more visible. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing. Just putting it in different spots. Flipping it over, seeing what we look like on the back side. And remember, no matter what you're dyeing, it will lighten when it dries. So no need to get worried when it looks very dark when you're first applying the dye. Okay, so I think I'm going to call that good on this, for this set, and I'm just going to move them over onto my cookie sheet. For the second set, these are the ones that have the knots. I hope I'm in camera here. Okay, rinse that out again so I don't cross-contaminate my dyes. And I'm bringing back the pearl gray, and I'm starting the process all over again these particular skeins. See guys, I said it was easy. Really, it is. If you like the prim look. But I'm sure you could do this with some bold, bright colors as well. What I might suggest for that would be to allow dry time between each color or every couple of colors, depending on if you wanted the colors to mix. Say if you were doing red and yellow together, then you would have that orange come together in the middle. Okay, I think we're going to call that good for the pearl gray. Just again rinsing out my syringe thingy. And we're going to go into back into the tan. I am, finding spots that doesn't have the pearl gray on it, but I'm also putting it right over some of the pearl gray. Okay, and I think we're going to call it good for that too. I'll move those over to my cookie sheet. And just as a test today, where did I put it? There it is. I'm going to do, see what it looks like with DMC 221, which for some reason I had like 12 or 15 skeins of this. I don't know. I must have had big plans for it at some point in the past. But I couldn't tell you what those plans were now. So I'm just using the same technique on this. Just thought it'd be interesting to see how this one would come out. And rinsing my syringe. Not really a syringe. You could use a syringe though. And adding in my tan. And they get fairly saturated, so it's a beautiful day outside today. We've had a couple of days of absolutely crazy rain. I mean, like huge thunderstorms and a lot of torrential type rains. But the beauty of it is we have like 75-degree weather today, which we haven't had that for months. Okay, so I'm going to set these outside to dry. You could put them in the oven, or you could just let them air dry inside. But I'm going to go ahead, since it's such a beautiful day, I'm going to go ahead and put them outside on my patio table, and I will be back to show you the results, and let's hope that they're happy results. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so we're back. Day 2. It got a bit windy out yesterday, and I had my floss out on my patio table. And the wind picked up, and I had to chase a few skeins across the lawn. So I decided to bring them inside, and it took a little bit longer to dry than I anticipated. So I just thought I would wait and finish this today. I'm pretty happy with the results. I will show you 3 of the, 7 yesterday. They're all pretty similar. Let me see if I can get a good representation here. I achieved the look that I was going for, which was to, because of the chart that I want to use these on, antique tin tiles, I wanted it to have kind of a rusty element as I'm stitching, because tin rusts sometimes. And I just wanted it to have that antique-y, rusty, primitive look. So if I hold up an un-overdyed skein, you can see the difference between me adding the pearl gray and the tan red dye. So I'm pretty happy with that. If you don't achieve the look that you first want, say it's not as dark as you wanted, you can always go back in, add more, just redo the process. I will show you. I also did one skein of the 221, and I can tell a difference. It's not as obvious as with the 926, but here we go. If you look, it does look just a bit darker. It kind of takes the edge off. But that was just an experiment, and I'm going to have to, I don't bobbinate, but I will kind of straighten these out and get them into my floss away bags. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those below, and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Sorry, I was looking in the wrong way. Thank you for joining me again, and until next time, happy stitching.